Welcome back to Thanks
Thanks
for
for
the
the
Trauma.
So, 20 something years ago, we decided that we were going to move from Philly to Florida, and we had no plan. But we also made that decision because we wanted to get away from the everyday reminders of our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Driving past our old street with your kids, me walking through the neighborhoods, just be reminded of all the drama and the
Trauma that we went through.
the drama and trauma that we have endured as young kids. It was just an everyday reminder, and for us to really heal, we felt like we needed to get away.
Yeah, the separation from the city. And I think there was also from like my point of view, that I would have to say is definitely because of that. It was like going to be a fresh start for us, that we could start fresh and we were able to wake up every day and not run into those places or run into those people, or have fear that we were going to run into those people. So we decided, hey, you know what, this is a great opportunity. The schools actually weren't so great. If we wanted to send the kids to a better school, it was going to cost a lot of money. We knew that the housing markets were a lot better here in Florida than they were in Philadelphia. We can get more for a house. The kids didn't have a backyard to play in or anything like that. So we wanted them to have that opportunity to have a place to be free, to be able to run around and not have the crime that was happening. Philadelphia crime had gotten so much even bigger. They start putting even at schools. I remember metal detectors. I don't know, when you were in your last year of high school, did they have the metal detectors? No. So they start putting the metal detectors in, and we start feeling, fearful because our youngest children were just getting ready to start school.
To backpedal for a second, when you all were just talking about, going back and,
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the old places, I remember Brittany, because Brittany's, the oldest, she'd be like, where did you grow up? I want to see where you grew up. And I can't take her to go see, well, this is Lester Street, or this is where
the
mommy,
projects.
I'm not going to take her by Lindenfield. I mean, it's not there now, but,
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is where mommy grew up and this is where I was tortured. You can't do that, so we didn't have that childhood to show our kids. I mean, Benner and Tarsdale, we could show them, that was where they grew up. That was our safe haven. But as children, we couldn't take our kids to show them memories of our childhood.
Yes, exactly.
There's no good memories.
There's no good memory. I mean, yeah, the projects before, we had great memories.
No, the
or
projects
somewhat.
were amazing.
Yeah.
Until we moved.
Well,
and I feel like
most
that's
of
where,
them.
I mean, there's a lot of abuse that happened in the projects, but really, really, like, we got all those animals when we moved.
Yeah.
Like, our fucking house was a pet store.
It was beyond a pet store.
Yeah, so.
I actually think we had more pets than the pet store.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
but even talking about the projects, though, I mean, people were like crack on the projects, and they crack about, you stood in the welfare line for welfare cheese. Let me tell you, that welfare cheese was the best.
Yeah.
Us going down there to eat for that free lunch or that free breakfast.
Summer,
oh my gosh.
To eat.
Sign me up.
We had a place to eat in the summer.
Yeah, that was food. Sign me up.
So I think that was another thing that Tracy pointed out, though. When the kids start getting older, they had questions. Hey, Mom, where did you grow up? I want to see this. I wanted to see that. And we really didn't want them to see the stuff that we
didn't want to see. We couldn't explain to them at that age, hey, this is what we endured.
They were all under 5 years old.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying as a child, as you're growing up, you're asking Mommy and Daddy, hey, where did you go to school at? Or how was your house? Or can we go by your house or anything like that? They may have those questions. We didn't want them to even go there or us even think back on those times. Yeah. We wanted to make a fresh start. And we came to Florida with really no plan. If you remember, I sent my husband Carmen with you and Tracy's ex-husband Richie with you to Florida a couple months before we moved here. And I said, Angel, you know what we're looking for? Go down there. And you came here. Carmen decided to get his real estate license. He stayed here in Florida, and you, he actually went back, and then he came back down. Mm. So he was able to have his real estate license. We found a place to live, a beautiful home for the kids to move in. I mean, our kids, I think, were the only kids swimming at the end of January in Florida.
Yeah, it was beginning
when
of February.
It was, and the neighbors next door are looking at us like, these people are crazy. They're letting their kids in this pool.
I feel like not, well, I mean, I guess now's the time, but like I moved in with you guys when I was 18 years old because I wanted to be around your kids and love on your kids because I didn't have that growing up. Like we didn't have aunts and uncles around us. So like I decided to move in with you guys, but I remember the one day watching the news and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was in Miami. It was not good news, but I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not wearing jackets and it's December. Yeah. And I was like, I fell in love with that. I'm like, I want to go to Florida. Yes, I'm going to talk about the Backstreet Boys. Another reason is because I met them, and then
How did you meet them?
They actually came to my high school in '94 before they became big. I got to meet them, and then I told you guys about them, and then we went to see them at the mall.
The King of Prussia Mall.
We went to see the King of Prussia Mall, and then throughout the years, we kept in touch with their manager, Donna Wright. So, like, we kept in touch with them in the beginning, but then I mean, I kept in touch with AJ throughout the years, but that fell through 20-something years ago when I broke up with his his best friend, ex-boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend. But
Brittany and Carmen became like their number one fans.
Yeah, I was their fan because they helped me through that time. At that time, when we were moving to Florida, I was going through a very dark phase. I was I'm an angry young woman, and that was the light in my life at the time.
You were a teenager. You weren't even a woman. You were a child.
Well, no, as a teenager, I was 17, 18, 19 years old listening to whatever Backstreet Boys music was being played at the time because I was like, oh my gosh, like that was more like joy. They brought happiness into my life that was so dark. Besides your kids, like I have to say, your kids, they have gotten me through the dark time too because like I got to love on them. I got to show them love. Like if it wasn't for us loving each other, we wouldn't even know what love is.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that a lot of people, and I think that's why music is so important. Music helps heal people, you know, and that was your space your safe space that you had, that you were able to go to get that healing that you had to get. Because you weren't going to get it anywhere else. Yeah. I mean, besides you,
Mommy never hugged us. Mommy never even said, I love you. You know, we didn't get that love.
No, and I don't think if you think back also, not even having a TV, I don't even think we had a radio, if you think about it. But I think that's why we wanted.
I remember, sorry to cut you off. I remember like we did have a radio, and like back in the day, you'd have to hit the record button on the tape just to get your favorite song recorded. Oh yeah. I don't know if you guys remember that. So we did have a radio, like, but I think it was just in the living room. So when they weren't home, we got to watch on the big TV, or we got to watch, you know.
Yeah. So back to, you know, us not having a plan coming down here. You know, I remember I didn't even want to move down here. I didn't want to come down here at all. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I was 22 years old. I mean, not that you guys were much older not that you were much older and you were much younger than me. Like, here we are getting a freaking semi truck and a purple van, loading up 6 kids, you know.
That was the best day ever.
Yeah. And next thing I know, it's like freaking what time? We left at like 1 a.m.
We left so late because we went to Carmen's mom's house to have dinner. She wanted to make a nice meal before we got on the road and everything like that. And then I had gotten food poison. It wasn't the best one, you know. And then the house we were moving into, we arrived there and the people were still getting ready to move out. So, I mean, it was a little, in the beginning, it was a little.
We got here before the boys did. Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
And then we had to go buy the kids' bathing suits because they seen the pool and then they wanted to go swimming. So we went and got them bathing suits, and the people were really nice. And we had no plan. None of us had jobs.
We didn't have jobs. And I think that
you and I went and got a job within like 24 hours at Church Street Station.
Yeah.
You know?
And I have to tell you that you guys had a lot of fun. I mean,
it was the best decision ever. Looking back, I mean, and everyone up north said we're so negative. They're like, you're never going to make it down there. I'll see you back here in 6 months. You're never. And here we are 28 years later.
So I have to tell you, it was pretty scary and everything like that. And because of the years of us going to church, even in the north and everything like that, I think one of my first things that I wanted to do was to find a great church. And thank God I found a great church. And Angel and I, before we took the kids, we went out and we checked out the church. And we were like, this is the place that we need to be. And we started going there, and that really changed. I think at that moment, that was another changing point. First moving from Philadelphia. and then finding an awesome church that was able to invest in us.
Finding faith.
Finding our faith.
Like for me, Jesus was always there, but I didn't really understand the one-on-one relationship with him as like, because we went to church in Philly, but we went to a Catholic church. We were sent there on Sundays to get out of the house when we lived in the projects, get out of the house. And then later on, when the church van would come pick us up in the summer,
Grace Bible,
that was the best time. Like those were the best moments that I remember. The the little joys in our lives. Like people nowadays would take that for granted.
Yeah.
But like being able to go and learn about Jesus and understand that he loves me for me, and I don't have to really change who I am.
Yeah. You know, it's really crazy when you just mentioned about Vacation Bible School, Grace Bible School, is that as soon as mommy found out exactly what it was about, she wouldn't allow us to go anymore.
Yep.
And I think that's in our life.
What was it about?
Well, I think because she claims she grew up Catholic, and we went to Catholic school, kitty catechisms and stuff like that, but there was still something missing. And when I was 10 years old, I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and my mom did not understand that. And it wasn't until later on in life that she basically really started to change her life. But for years, we lived in the same, I guess, chaos. And another thing is that when we were going through our healing, when we first moved to Florida, we stopped all communications with my mom. We took a year away, and that year, we really focused on just focusing on our family, focusing on ourselves, and focusing on our relationship with Christ, I think.
Well, I also feel that, with mommy at that time, she was just a Catholic, and she didn't believe in becoming a Baptist Christian. She didn't understand. And that's why she was against us going to.
Well, this is the problem, though. Saying, "Hey, I'm Catholic," but you don't do any of the practices and stuff like that. You can say anything.
That's why. What I'm saying is that's why she took us away from there and wouldn't let us go back to Grace Bible.
When we were younger.
When we were younger.
Yeah, I don't know, but the thing is that like over the main purpose, especially with this episode that we're trying to do right now, is we're really just trying to focus on the reason why we wanted the change. And I think we all would agree we wanted better opportunities for ourselves and even for our future children. I mean, Angel, you had your kids here in Florida, and it was probably the best. I mean, you have a daughter that just graduated, and she has a full ride to college, which is an awesome thing. And I think in Philadelphia, when we lived in Philadelphia with our mom, stepdad, whatever, the focus was never about going to college. It was like, hey, graduate high school, you go get a job.
All of our kids went to college.
No, but I understand.
But I'm not downplaying your daughter. I'm just saying in general.
No.
Or if we raised our kids in Philadelphia, they wouldn't even had a chance to go to college.
Yeah, I don't think
that's if they even went through high school.
She's trying to say that no one ever believed in us.
Yes.
No one ever pushed us to be better. Say, no, you know what? How about you go get your education? Like, Mommy didn't care if we went to school.
Mommy didn't even teach me how to read.
Like, she didn't care. She actually took me out of school when I was a kid in kindergarten.
But do you know why she did that? Because she had to go walk.
Because she didn't,
Yeah, she also would have to walk you to school or walk you home, because remember, it was only half day.
Yeah.
So that means that she would have to walk you to school,
and
then
why
she had to
went
walk back
home. I mean, even when we were younger, she never walked me to school.
Oh, she never walked you.
No.
Or even
you went half day, because I picked you up in the second half. I was leaving school, and I would have to come get you, and then sometimes you weren't even there. I'm like, where is she?
Yes, because she took me out of school. But like, Mom, I mean, we didn't have anyone to believe in us. No one to tell us, you know what? No, I want you to do better. And like me as a mom, I want my kids to do better than I ever did.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, yeah, I got my college education now, but it took 20-something years to make that happen.
But you did it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything. And then like, just becoming a mom. Well, I mean, even like seeing Mommy, I knew the kind of mom I never wanted to be. And then I see you, and like, to most people, Brandy is known as Mom. She's the one who basically raised me, because you have always been there for me. I mean, you're the one who, anything major in my life, I came to you. I didn't go to Mommy. I came to you. I'm like, hey, my first time I got my period, I came to you. I'm like, hey, I don't know what the hell's going on. You help me, like stuff like that. Like every big thing in my life, I came to you and it came to Carmen, and I mean Tracy too, because we were all there. Like, you guys were always together, but like, we wanted better for our kids, and I wanted better for whatever kids I had in the future. And that's why I was like, when we moved here 28 years ago, I was like, you know what, I start going to counseling. I start going to Bible study classes. I want to figure out the anger, and like later on, the anger is just for those hidden emotions underneath. Like, you don't realize all the emotions, and like, I had to untangle all that. And honestly, the last 6 years, I have really, really grown even more as a person going through my own divorce. Like, I mean, there was things that, I've dealt with a lot of the childhood stuff in the last 6 years too, because like, you don't realize as an adult, you find someone that is helping recreate that chaos that you're so used to.
You think like what we went through is normal to an extent, and then you realize real quick it is not normal. None of it's normal. We think like it's okay for someone to treat us a certain way, and it's not. And moving to Florida when we had no plan, it was scary, but in reality, we were breaking that cycle.
We were breaking that cycle, but I also think that, like, we didn't have a plan, but God had a plan for us. And I think that's
when our life, it at first. And that's what I learned, I learned at 22 years old. Like, I was scared. I didn't want to do it, but I knew deep down inside it was the right thing to do, because I was breaking that cycle. I was getting away from all of that shit. I was getting away from the memories of Philadelphia, the trauma, the home, knowing that I was never ever had a chance to run into or any of that bullshit, even going by Leicester Street or riding by the projects again, and etc.
Just anything that would set us off. But I think this is another reason why that we're making this podcast today, is because I think over the years what we did learn that we didn't learn from our mom, of course, is invest in your kids. That's like your number one thing. If you're going to have kids, invest in them. And I think a lot of people miss out on that, and they invest in themselves, and they really don't care about their kids. So the biggest thing I would have to say is invest in them. Because if you don't, the world's going to steal them, with drugs, alcohol, friends, or whatever. It's going to steal them. And I think each of us have done a pretty good job of really trying to invest in our kids, and we're still investing in our kids.
You learn every day. And one thing that is not okay is abuse, no matter what type of abuse it is.
Like, the main reasons why we moved here to Florida is definitely because we wanted to change. We wanted a better life and opportunity for our children. We didn't want to run into the same people. We did not want to run into the same places that we went through this physical abuse, mental abuse.
Can you guys describe the row homes?
There are row homes in Philadelphia. So row homes, like,
they look like townhouses in like other places. That's what, like, in Florida we would look at it and be like, oh, that's a townhouse, but in Philly it's row homes.
It's row homes. But I think so moving from a row home that was, I'm giving it a thing saying it's 1,000 feet, to a house that was like close to 4,000 that we moved here in Florida.
Yes, we all live together.
Wait. A row home in Philadelphia is not 1,000 square feet.
Maybe 900.
Maybe like 845 square feet.
So the point that I'm trying to make, though, is that, you're moving from a house that's like, under 1,000 to a house over 4,000 that has four bathrooms, 6 bedrooms. You're talking about a huge house with a pool where the kids could run around.
You're not on top of each other.
When you chose to move to Florida, the row home you were living in, who was all in there?
Richie wasn't there. He was at.
So we had 6 kids.
Yeah, you, me, Angel, and Carmen, I think.
So there were 10 of us.
Yeah.
And how many bedrooms?
3 bedrooms. Well, in the basement had a bedroom.
Yeah.
So 4 bedrooms.
But we gave the kids the front room, and we had bunk beds in there.
2 sets of bunk beds.
2 sets of bunk beds, and you were still a baby. You were just like, you were under a year old.
Yeah. So.
And Carmen had a water bed because of his asthma and stuff like that. He couldn't have a regular like mattress or anything like that.
Yep. And then Angel and I shared a room, and then your mom had
Backstreet Boys all up on it.
Yeah. So when we came to Florida, we were like, listen, it is sunny here. It is beautiful here. It's a fresh start. And like I said, we did our year of healing and separation from our family and everything like that. And I feel we grew so much. And I have to say, you know, even the church always felt like everybody there felt like more family than our own family too, which is, you know, crazy. But I understand that now.
And I also want to clarify something. By any means, I don't want to come across, or we don't want to come across thinking we're better than anyone, because that is so far. We are not better than anyone by any means.
Yeah.
We just want better for ourselves. And if we could help anyone become better, or to get out of any situation or abuse situation, that is our goal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think each episode's going to be a little different. Some may, like, you know, be maybe not like more exciting or anything like that, and some are going to be really tough episodes to watch. Some you may even cry with us, and emotional. So it just, you know, depends on what we're talking about in that episode of how it will go. Yeah, and I think that's why we talked about, this is why this summer we're working on this podcast and stuff like that. And you know what? We're going to just do this. We're going to just roll and try to make the best of it. And hopefully, you know, it'll help people and also continue our healing that we need, to even have a better life. To every day that we would look in the mirror, we try to be better than yesterday.
Like you said, I'm not better than anybody,
no.
But I'm choosing my peace.
Yeah, you have to protect yourself.
You have to protect yourself. And I think that's exactly.
It's my boundary. It's my peace. Like, I mean, I don't know if you ever seen like the little things where you have like the backyards. I'm not letting people dump their stuff in my backyard anymore. Like, these are my boundaries, and I just choose not to have that stuff thrown in my backyard.
And you know what? I have to tell you, that's another great point, because moving so far away, being 1,000 miles away from, you know, family, friends, and stuff like that, they couldn't just show up at your front door. So we had the right, if we didn't want to answer their phone, we're not going to answer the phone. We saw who was calling. So it made us have the time to heal. And I think basically Florida was our healing place. How they say Florida is the fountain of youth, but it's really the fountain of our healing.
Yeah.
Thanks for the trauma. See you next time.